Hi, so this is part 2 of finding your Saturn audit. I posed a question in my last video. Where is Shani rebuilding your life? Of course, I took a lot of examples from celebrities and from public accolades and all those things to explain what Saturn retrograde is and why it feels so intense. Now it's time to make it really personal. I want you to imagine that Saturn is sitting across the table from you, not as a judge, not as someone who wants to punish you, but as the wisest mentor you will ever meet. He opens a file with your name, he smiles. Then he says, let's see what we are building together. That is what the retrograde is all about. Saturn is not looking for perfection, he's looking for honesty. So here is what I want you to do. Find out your rising sign, your Lagna, and that is the chart we will use. If you know only your moon sign, you can listen from that perspective too. But I normally prefer using Lagna. Actually, in Vedic astrology, both provide valuable insights. Although the Ascendant gives you the most personal picture of how these lessons unfold. As I go through every Ascendant, don't just listen, ask yourself questions. Be completely honest with yourself, because the more honest you are, the more this retrograde can work in your favor. Aries rising, Pisces falls into your 12th house. This is a house of endings, healing, sleep, solitude, foreign lands, and your subconscious mind. Saturn is asking, what emotional baggage are you carrying that no longer belongs in your future? Are you holding on to guilt, to old resentments, fear of failure? Or are you simply tired of giving too much of yourself? This is your time, your invitation to slow down. You know, rest is not laziness. Healing is productive, and sometimes the greatest achievement is finally letting go. Now let's talk about Taurus rising. For Taurus rising, Pisces is in your 11th house. Now this is exactly what we discussed in the previous video. The link is here. Friends, professional networks, income, social media, long-term dreams. Ask yourself, who genuinely celebrates your success? Who only shows up when they need something? Saturn may shrink your circle, but he will strengthen your foundation. Remember, 10 loyal supporters are worth far more than 1,000 superficial followers. For Gemini rising, Pisces activates your 10th house. That is your house of career, your reputation, your public image, your life's purpose. Saturn asks you one simple question. If someone watched how you worked for the last 5 years, what would they say about your work ethic, your discipline? Not your talent, not your consistency, your work ethic. It's time to stop chasing every opportunity. Master one. Build your reputation brick by brick. You understand that? For Cancer rising, Pisces is your 9th house. 9th house is about your beliefs, about higher learning, teachers, spirituality, travel, your philosophy. Saturn asks, are your beliefs truly yours? Or are you living according to expectations you've inherited from your family or your society? Sometimes Saturn dismantles old beliefs because your soul has outgrown them. This is a beautiful time to study deeply, travel with purpose, reconnect with your spiritual practice. Now let's talk about Leo rising. For Leo rising, Pisces is your 8th house. 8th house is shared finances, taxes, insurance, investments, inheritance, transformation even. Saturn wants financial maturity. Ask yourself, if an accountant reviewed every financial decision you made over the last 2 years, would they see a clear strategy or emotional decisions? This isn't time for reckless risks. It's time for careful planning. Protect what you built. Now let's talk about Virgo rising. Virgo rising Pisces falls on your 7th house. 7th house is partnerships, legal, emotional, or even family oriented, which will make it business partnerships, marriage, clients, important one to one relationships. Now, Saturn asks, are your relationships built on commitment or convenience? Healthy relationships become stronger, unhealthy relationships reveal their cracks. Communication, patience, accountability, these are your greatest strengths during this transit. Libra rising. Pisces activates your 6th house. 6th house is your health routines, work, daily routines, service. Saturn says your future is being created repeatedly from what you are doing day to day. Are your habits supporting your goals? Or are they quietly sabotaging them? This is an excellent time to improve your diet, exercise consistently, organize your schedule, and simplify your daily life. Now let's move on to Scorpio rising. Pisces is your 5th house. 5th house is creativity, children, romance, joy, self-expression. Saturn is asking you, are you creating because you love it? Or are you seeking approval? If so, whom are you seeking approval from? I would suggest you trust your creative process. The work you begin now may take longer to blossom, but it can have a lasting impact. Now let's go to Sagittarius rising. Pisces is your 4th house. 4th house is home, family, mother, emotional security, inner peace. Saturn wants you to build stability from within. Ask yourself, does your home feel like a sanctuary or simply a place where you have a pillow that you put your head on before you go to sleep? Saturn retrograde in the 4th house. It's time to strengthen your family relationship. Organize your home. Create an emotional balance. Actually create a sanctuary for yourself. Rising. Pisces activates your 3rd house. Communication, writing, teaching, siblings, skills, courage. Saturn asks, what skill have you been postponing because you are afraid of not being perfect? Write that book. Start that podcast. Launch a YouTube channel. Practice every single day. Mastery comes from repetition. Aquarius rising. Aquarius rising, Pisces becomes your 2nd house. 2nd house is money, savings, speech, food, family values. Saturn asks, does your spending reflect your priorities? Or are you buying things that truly do not add any value to your life? Financial discipline today creates financial freedom tomorrow. Every rupee should have a purpose. And finally, Pisces rising. Saturn is in your 1st house. That is the house of identity, your body, your confidence, your direction in life. This is the most important personal reinventions you will experience. You may feel more serious, more reflective, older, wiser. That is because Saturn is helping you become the person you meant to be. Do not resist the process. Become the leader, the guide your future needs you to be. Now, in all these questions, did you notice something? None of these questions are about luck. They're about responsibility. Responsibility is Saturn's love language. Now, whenever I'm talking about Saturn retrograde, I like to bring in Jupiter's hidden blessings. Saturn never works alone. Right now, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. From Cancer, Jupiter casts a powerful ninth aspect onto Saturn in Pisces. Think of these two planets as teachers. Saturn is the strict professor. He gives you the exam. He asks the difficult questions. He expects discipline. Jupiter is the wise mentor. He reminds you why the lesson matters. He gives you hope. He gives you perspective. He helps you grow through wisdom rather than fear. That is why I do not want you to be afraid of this retrograde. Yes, Saturn may slow things down. Yes, some plans may need revision. Yes, you may have to let go of people, habits, beliefs that do not serve you any longer. But Jupiter reminds us that every ending creates space for something better. If you choose honesty over denial, discipline over shortcuts, patience over panic, this Saturn retrograde can become one of the most rewarding chapters of your life. Not because it gives you everything immediately, but because it helps you build a life that no storm can easily shake. Isn't that what true success actually means? Now that we understand Saturn is auditing, what it is auditing, the next question is, what can I actually do about it? The good news is Saturn never gives us a lesson without giving us a way to grow through it. In Vedic astrology, remedies aren't magic tricks. They aren't meant to cancel karma. They are meant to change you. Because when you change, your karma changes. So let's look at some practical ways to work with this retrograde. Now, people in India are familiar with Saturn remedies, but I often have clients, people who ask me, Rituji, what is the most powerful remedy for Saturn? After years of studying astrology, my answer is always the same. Live with integrity, keep your promises, respect your time, respect other people's time, do honest work. Take responsibility for your mistakes. Be patient with your progress. These aren't just good habits. They are Saturn's language. Of course, you can do shadow work. Sit quietly with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing? Why? If my title disappeared, what would I be? If my income changed, what would still define me? If nobody applauded me, would I still love the work I do? These are answers that reveal parts of yourself that Saturn wants to strengthen. I mean, if my identity is just being a mother, what happens when my children move out of the house? What am I left with? If my identity is just being a wife, nobody lives forever. And marriages don't last these days. So what is my identity? Is it my title in the office? Is it the corner office or the nameplate on the door to my room? What is my identity? Try to keep a journal during Saturn retrograde. Every Saturday, ask yourself, what responsibility did I avoid this week? What difficult conversation needs to happen? Where did I choose discipline over comfort? Why do certain things always happen in my life? What lesson keeps repeating in my life? In just a few weeks, you will begin to notice patterns that were invisible before, and that is Saturn revealing your growth. Meditation trains patience. Even 10 minutes of silent breathing every day helps you become less reactive and more grounded. When life slows down, instead of asking, why me? Why is this happening to me? The question that arises in your mind is, what is this moment trying to teach me? That single question shifts you from resistance to wisdom. Chant. Any chanting will do, but the Shani chant is Om Sham Shanischaraya Nama. You can use that. Chant slowly with awareness. Let each repetition remind you that discipline is a form of devotion. Light a sesame lamp on Saturdays as a part of your spiritual tradition. Offer sincere prayers with gratitude instead of fear. Remember, a lot of people are God fearing, not God living. Try to be grateful, try to be God loving. You don't need elaborate rituals. A quiet heart is much more powerful than an elaborate ceremony performed without intention. And of course, Seva. Saturn represents humility and service. Offer food to the needy, support elderly people, help a sanitation worker, volunteer your time, serve without expecting recognition. When you honor Saturn's qualities, you align yourself with that energy. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, press the bell icon, and I'll see you in another video.